any project that we are doing, anything on which the project theme, the CTQ, it becomes the project Y. So project Y is a quantitative representation of the CTQ, right? And it is a metric that you will keep on measuring, and basically a project Y will define the success of the project. So in your project that you would have done, the project Y metric would have been the average handling time of the call. Am I right? Was it AST of the call?
Right. Yep.
Yep. Right. So that was the project Y, and then at the end you would have measured whether the average AST has reduced or not, right? Because that is one metric which would have defined the success of the project.
Right.
And we have already seen the CTQ drill down tree, so I'm not going into that, and I'll straight away jump into project charter. Now, what is project charter? Project charter, it is one of the tools that you would use in the define phase, and it is a document which will tell it's, so as I said, it is the sales pitch of the project. So it will, you would clearly define why do you want to do this particular project in the project charter. It will have a business case, it will have a problem statement, a go statement, the timeline, when would you complete the project, when would you complete the define phase, the measure phase, analyze, improve, and control phase. And then it will lay down the scope of the project. What will be the boundaries that you will touch, of your project. So AST, the project that you have done, average handling time, right? You would have mentioned that, okay, average handling time for this particular process area, right? So do you get calls for more than, when you did that particular project, the project that you were part of, when that project was completed, was it for a specific area, specific call types, or for all the calls in the organization?
The one I experienced was for all the calls.
All the calls in the organization?
Yes.
Right. So suppose, is it for one particular location, or did you cover all the locations? Do you get inbound calls all the locations? So is the customer service division, is it there in one single location or different locations?
No, we have, I want to say 12 locations.
Okay, the project covered all the 12 locations?
Yes.
Okay, great. So it would have been probably a black belt project, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, suppose your organization, you're in that project, the scope of the project was all the 12 locations, right? Suppose we want to initiate different projects for different locations.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, the scope of project would be very limited to the specific location for which I'm doing the project, right? And then the project charter would also have the project team, who all would be the member of the project team. Okay, it can be the black belt, green belt. You would have the team members. It is it is necessary or advisable to have the people who are working in the process to be part of project team members, because they are the one who will be able to give you the most valuable inputs. Okay.
Right.
So in the project that you did, did you get a chance to prepare or participate in the preparation of project charter?
I did not.
Oh, okay. How big was the project team?
I want to say it was 12 people.
Oh, all right. One for each location, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Great. Yes. So, because this project was spread out of 12 locations, so it was very, very important to include everyone from each location, because each location might have their own different challenge as well, right? So it is very important to proactively include everybody from that particular location, because see, a black belt or a green belt would not be present everywhere to implement the process, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the reason why when the black belt who were doing the project, he included one person from each location, so that that individual can help in implementation of the project solutions as well. right? Because obviously black belt cannot go ahead and implement the solution himself or herself, right? So it has to be the subject matter expert or the project team member. So it is very important to choose the right people to form the part of project team, and people who can help you in the implementation of solution, as well as people who can give you the inputs to those solutions. Because if the solution comes from people, they would be able to implement it more efficiently than anything else.
Okay.
Okay, so project charter is part of define phase, and is the first document that is prepared. So first it will have a business case. So business case is basically as I keep repeating, is the sales pitch of the entire project. Why do we want to take up this particular project? What will go wrong if we don't take it up? It should talk about the magnitude of the problem. It should link the improvement that you're trying to do with the business goal at the strategic level. And basically here you would define, why is it that you want to do the project. You would justify this particular project. So there are some questions that we have tried to list down. Your business case should answer these questions. Why is this project worth doing? Why is it important to do it right now? Can it be done 6 months later on? Can it be done 1 year later? It should answer why is it important to do it right now? What would go wrong if we don't do it right now? What are the consequences of not doing this particular project? How does this fit in with the business initiative and the organizational objective? It will help you to take buy-in of the stakeholder for the project. And what are the expected benefits of the project? Very important, because remember, Six Sigma is conceived and run, and you cannot initiate a project till the time you can foretell how much would be the gain of the project. So it is very important to calculate the expected benefit, because it will help you to get the buy-in and approval for the project. And very importantly, what is the impact of the project to the customer or to the customer processes? So your project charter or the business case should answer all these questions. So that's the reason why we say it is a sales pitch of your project. So at any given point of time, you might have more than one project. Which project to choose from? This business case will help this management to decide this is the project that we want to invest our time and money into. Okay, are we good with this?
Okay.
All right, then you have a problem statement. So problem statement is something that is always backed by the data. It is a descriptive statement which is outlining the location or the occurrence of the problematic events and the timeline as well. And it will quantify the pain that is being felt. It will quantify the impact of that particular problem. So the problem statement ideally should be answering what is the problem that the team is addressing, what is the magnitude and the trend of the problem, and what is the baseline performance, what is the time period as per the data collected or data analyzed for this to this period. This is what I have seen. Because of this is what is happening, right? So it should clearly tell you that what is the impact of this particular problem and what is the magnitude of the problem. Then we have a goal statement. So goal statement, you have a problem statement, and then you would have a goal statement. It would quantify the improvement that you're going to make. Have you heard about SMART, S-M-A-R-T, SMART goals?
Yes.
So the goal statement should be SMART. It should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, relevant, and time bound. Okay, so some of the tips, it should start with a verb. It should not prejudge or cause or prescribe a solution. So if you know the solution of a project, you should not do a Six Sigma project, ideally, right? So if you already know the solution, there's no point going through the entire DMAT. You straight away go ahead and implement the solution. Yes, sometime you might need to go through the entire methodology because you might want to refine the solution or find out more solutions. Okay. Move ahead. The scope of the project. It is very important to scope the project right. Okay, because if you don't scope it correctly, your project would go on forever. It should clearly tell you what is in scope, what is out of scope of the project. And your scope should define each and everything. It should detail out each and everything, like, what is the product, what is the process, what is the location, and also, you need to specifically mention out any constraint related to that. Is there any assumption that you are taking? So you should be as descriptive as possible in the project charter stage. Okay, I'll give you an example, and it's very important to scope out your project correctly, because, so I was part of one of the projects. So it was initial days, and we were, working in one of the IT organization. Rather, IT organization was one of the customer, and we were trying to do a project, and the theme of the project was incident reduction. So what would happen is, so that particular organization is providing the support, technical support, and the moment somebody faces any issue with the application, a person would log the incident. And there's an incident management process, and the incident would get routed to the relevant teams. So, what we observed, that there was a lot of incidents which were getting logged, high incident volumes, because of which a lot of time of the team was getting consumed. So we thought, it's a good project, we need to pick it up, we need to reduce the incident count. And if we are able to reduce the incident count, we will be able to save substantial amount of efforts as well. Okay, so Scott, you're still there, right?
Right. Correct.
Okay, great. So I don't hear your voice, I get tense. All right, so so going back to the project, so what was happening is that these high incident volumes, right? So we put the entire project charter together and everything. We said, all the incidents that we're receiving, all the application and everything is in scope. We also laid out, all the locations and from where the processes are working on incident resolution. Everything is in scope. Okay. And we wanted to make a substantial impact on the overall incident count. So we did the project and everything, and there was good set of solution, about 15, 16 solutions, some automations, and all those were implemented. So what happened is, we ran the project for about 3 months. 1 month we decided on the solutions, and then second month we implemented the solution. Third month we thought it's going to be the control phase, wherein we would want to put the sustenance plan and ensure that the solution sustains for a long period of time. So just before we were closing the project, so in the last couple of weeks, what happened? Suddenly we were able to reduce the incident. So it was somewhere about 1,000 incidents. We were able to bring it down to somewhere about 750 range. So last couple of weeks, we suddenly saw the incident count increase, and it actually went up to 1,000 once again. So, we started looking at it, and we started analyzing what has gone wrong. And, we have a final presentation scheduled, and the project end date is near, and suddenly it has gone back to 1,000 where we started from. So, everybody was bedazzled, and, what do we do? So we went ahead, started looking at the data. That is when we realized, there was a scope creep. What has happened is, during the scoping, we did not mention that any new work thread added in the incident, in overall incident kitty would be kept out of scope. So what happened in the last couple of weeks, there were 2 new applications which got launched, and there was a data migration that happened on those applications. Now, because of that, those 2 new additions, there was a lot of incidents in those 2 applications. These were the new work thread acquired by the company, right? And the company also started supporting on incidents for these 2 applications, and they had huge user base. So what happened is, because of those 2 incidents, the overall incident count increased, and our project, which we could have easily closed, we had to then wait for those application incidents to get stabilized, then did the project improvement, in incident for those application as well, then went ahead and closed the project. So it take from that time it took us 6 more months to actually go ahead and complete that particular project. So the reason why I'm telling you this story is that if we don't do the scoping correctly at the beginning, we might lose a risk of a project not completing on time or project going on forever. So it is very important to do the scoping in the beginning of the project. Proactively think, what all can go wrong. What is the area that I can, that I would want to target? Because obviously I cannot change the entire world through this particular project. The project has to be pretty limited to a specific area, because I can take step by step, right? So I can do the improvement in one area, then take it to a different area, then take it to a third area. Right, so it is always better to keep the scope as less as possible for the project.
Gotcha.
Okay, I think it's lunch. It's your lunch time, right?
Pretty close. If you're good for a break, I'm good for a break.
Okay, right. So I think so. We have covered the project charter. Oh, no, the timelines is left. So let's cover that. Why leave it out? So timelines, we know it's a start and the end date, and so we, when we initiate the project in the project charter, we need to decide on the start and the end date for the project, as well as each and every phase of the project. So it is generally said a black belt project would take somewhere about 4 to 6 months to complete, but practically what I've seen is, if the project goes on for 6 months, it gets very difficult to complete a project, right? Because in today's dynamic world, the processes change in 6 months, right? So you should always try to complete the project in 1 or 2 months timeline, because 6 months is a too long a period. Gone are the days when things never used to get changed in 6 months. Nowadays, it gets changed in 3-4 months. So you should always gun for completing a project in 2 to 3 months time. And while you try to prepare the timeline, it is necessary and it is very important to estimate the effort for each and resources in the project, because these effort would get approved. So again, like I said, it depends on organization to organization, but then when you are going for approval, right, you should be able to tell everyone what is the responsibility of each and every team member involved in the process, in the project, and at the same time how much is the effort that you require from that member or from that participant in the project. Because unless and until you get the approval, you might not get time from that particular individual. So if you do get the approval, there would be a push, unseen push on that individual to contribute in the project as well. So as a project manager, you have to be as a project manager or as a green belt, you have to be covered. You have to cover yourself from each and every angle and each and every risk, because ultimately the failure would come to a green belt or a black belt, right? And success is for everyone to share. So it is very important for you to cover yourself and the project that you're doing from each and every angle. You should get the buy-in from the stakeholders. You should get the approval for the timelines as well before initiating the project during the define phase itself. Okay, then the project teams, as I mentioned, it is very this I would say is one of the most important aspect of any project. If you have the right team selected for the project, there's nothing that can stop the success of that particular project. And if the team is not right, no matter what you do, you would never be able to complete a project. You would never be able to make a project a success. So it is very important to have the right set of people in the team. Team share the same goal. Each and every team members or the project leader, each and every member in the team knows exactly their roles and responsibilities and what is the expectation from them. Okay, team should be useful. They should be able to contribute, and they should not know it verbally, but document the roles, responsibilities, and what you expect from them at the beginning. Take their buy-in, don't leave anything, to memory. Pen down each and everything that you can. Okay. Depending on organization to organization, you might have a sponsor of the project, you might have a facilitator, you might have a team, coach or not. So again, that would totally depend on organization to organization. So in the end, project charter is a document which will have primarily 5 things. It will have a business case, it will have a problem statement, it will have a goal statement, it will have the scoping, it will have the timeline. You can actually put the name of the team members as well, and project wise, where you would actually update what is the project charter is where you would actually update what is the project why for this particular project. Project why, like I said, is the CTQ. It is a metric that you would try to improve by doing this particular Six Sigma project. Okay, so that is it about project charter. I think once we come back from break, what we will do is we will go through one of the project charter and try to see if that particular project charter has covered each and every point which I've mentioned in the slide.
Okay.